Hello again, it's Crew Call here on the Motor Racing Network, taking you into the garage and talking to the folks that make the race cars go around the racetrack. We're going to chat with Dave Elenz a little bit later on the program from up at Legacy Motor Club. I'm Steve Post, pit road reporter for Motor Racing Network, joined by 25-time and championship-winning crew chief Todd Gordon. Hello, Todd. How are you?
I'm good. We're headed to Darlington.
Headed to Darlington, man. I'm telling you, these are the high holy days in NASCAR when we're headed to Darlington for Labor Day, but Daytona. Oh, man, you called an outlier, but boy, this
was the outlier, wasn't it?
That was the outlier, no doubt about it, but a wild race. What was your takeaway from Saturday night at Daytona?
Man, I don't like where Speedway Racing's gotten to, be honest with you. I just feel like, what do we have? The TV put up a stat at the end. We had 6 cars that weren't involved in wrecks during the day. Man. And I'm not sure if any of them, Brad Keselowski was one of them, and he came through the checker flag sideways. So I don't know if we eliminate him from the list. It's just gotten so aggressive. And this package has just gotten to the point, we just see so much aggressiveness and bold moves and big wrecks. It's not where I knew Speedway Racing years ago. So yeah. I'm a little more disappointed in the package, to be honest with you, personally. And the reason I look at that is we've got Speedway races in both the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Yeah, we have Atlanta and Talladega. We used to have Talladega as like this, just got to get through that one. Right. Well, now you got to get through 2 of them. Yeah. And Atlanta will be calmer than Daytona because you don't push through the corners, but, well, we shouldn't have pushed through the corners, and that's how Michael McDowell ended up almost upside down. But it was spectacular, but I don't know that I'd call it great racing. I listened to Denny Hamlin's Actions Detrimental, and Denny, we know he is one of the best at Talladega and Daytona, one of the best. And he just says, this car, you know where you want to be. I'm paraphrasing here. You know where you want to be. And the one he got caught up with it, he knew he didn't want to be there. In the old car, you could do something about it. It's a chess match, and you couldn't do something instantly about it. But here, he said, I was just couldn't move and couldn't do anything about it. So there's so much parity that you can't really move. And the other piece being that I feel like the old car, if you go back to the Generation 6 car, with the radiator inlet in the back and the bumper covers being long and extended, there was a bubble of air. Cars didn't get to each other to make contact. These cars can drive all the way to them. Right. Where we used to have kind of like a spring of air in between cars. Shoot the guy out, yeah. Good cars could get through that bubble and get to where they could push once in a while, but it wasn't all the time. But right now, the whole field can get to the bumper. So I think that makes it much more aggressive where we're at. Yeah, really is. Fascinating stuff, that's for sure. Got a couple attaboys. Yeah. The Wood Brothers. Okay. 100. 100. The 8th organization in NASCAR history to make it to 100 wins. Yes. Absolutely amazing that they got there. Harrison Burton getting that win. And the cool part is that a lot of the group that got him 99, Jeremy Bullins, Kurt Almquist. That's right. We're there. There's several people, and I'm leaving people out. Yeah. I'm sorry about that, but they're part of 99 with Ryan Blaney. They were part of 100 with Harrison Burton. Well, yep. And that's cool because it's kind of the Wood Brothers program is still family. Mm-hmm. You see, Ryan Blaney not only came to Victory Lane, he stayed in Victory Lane. Yeah, because he's family. Yeah. And you look at the lineage of drivers that have been part of that program and everything that everybody has to say about that program. It's really cool to see the 21 car back in Victory Lane. Really, truly is. That is for sure. Another attaboy. We've given this guy so many attaboys. Tyler Allen, crew chief on that number 20 car, Joe Gibbs. 6 wins, 2 now with Ryan Truex. Man, oh man, Tyler Allen is just knocking it out with that 20 car. Yeah, he sure is. No matter who he is. He's won twice with John Hunter Nemechek, once with Eric Almirola, once with Christopher Bell as well. And he's going to Darlington with Christopher Bell. Yeah, not a bad shoe to take to Darlington. But the Sunday show is probably the best of them. Absolutely. Dylan Capello, crew chief for Lane Riggs, Front Row Motorsports, first career Big 3 win. Dylan, a 28-year-old from Peoria, Arizona, October of last year won the ARCA West race at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas. He's a racer that's moved, got an engineering degree, has moved into the shop working on these cars, became crew chief. But when he gets an off weekend, he gets a chance to go racing every once in a while. Yeah, and cool. So I love that. So congratulations to Dylan Capello, crew chief for Lane Riggs. That first win is always huge and really, really neat. So we've got Dave Elenz coming up again here on the program. We always like to remind you to make sure you like, to share,
and to just help us spread the gospel of Crew Call. Stay with us. Dave Elenz joins us in just a moment. Welcome back. It is Crew Call here on the Motor Racing Network. Let's go up to Legacy Motor Club. Joining us, crew chief for Eric Jones, Dave Elenz joins us. Hello, Dave. How are you?
Doing good. How are you guys?
We are doing well. Dave, let's talk a little 2024. I'm fairly confident you're hoping for maybe a little bit better results, but what have you guys been working on? What's been kind of the gist of what's going on up there with Legacy? I know a lot of changes, but what's been going on up there?
We've definitely had a lot of struggles this year, and it's been a pretty big challenge getting used to all our new parts and pieces and components, and really just getting in a groove the way we were last year. So, there's no one thing that we can find that we're missing. It's a lot of little things that we're working on and trying to get better. And really, it's just about understanding our tool set more and making sure that we're making better decisions going into the weekend and showing up with faster cars. And that's really been the struggle for the first part of the year. I think we're kind of seeing a glimpse of hope in the past month or so. Mm-hmm. We've actually showed up with speed in both cars a couple weeks. So, I think we're taking the right steps, but it's just been a long process, and we still have a long ways to go.
So it just recently, I'd say the last month, there's been a couple of additions and kind of shuffles within the corporate organization. Jacob Cantor came on as director of competition. I think Bobby Kennedy's got a different role within the company. How has that changed the day-to-day operations on your end?
It changes a lot. It's new people and new roles that, they have different thoughts on the way they do things and, stuff to get up to speed on our side of things. So it's kind of good because, it's someone new. So all the questions have to be asked and, understand what we're doing and why we're doing it and then interject their thoughts. So it's been really good to have both those guys on board. There's a lot more changing besides just those guys, and it's in a reaction to the performance we've had. That's obviously not where we want it to be. And there's things that need to happen to make our team better and our group better that those two will help us out with and point us in the right direction and, try to get us the resources we need to just start building faster race cars. And that's plain and simple what we need to do right now is bring faster race cars to the racetrack.
Dave, I want to go a little deeper in the Toyota thing. Dumb radio guy Steve said last year with Chevy, you guys are on an island. When you announced you're going to Toyota, we all understand that. That's the way things work on this. My theory is when you guys got the influx of Toyota, man, stand back and watch these guys go. You talked about the systems and the parts and pieces. Can you go a little deeper on how my dumb radio guy logic doesn't really apply to the real world in the Cup Series?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a shock for all of us this season. So it's not just you. I think we all felt like we're going to get all the Toyota resources and everything they provide and just, continue on and run well. And it just hasn't been the case. And it's, there's a lot of factors into it. And, you get into trying to make these cars right. And the window for a fast car to a slow car is very small on this. And there's nuances to, tool sets that, every manufacturer has, and they're different. There's different styles of, creating setups and creating fast cars. And, a lot of our stuff had been with one manufacturer for a long time. And a lot of the people we have are from one manufacturer, and when we switched to Toyota, it's new people, it's new processes and new thoughts. And, it takes a while to get adjusted and in line with what that school of thought is. And, we thought the window would be, 3 or 4 months to do it. And, I think it's just a lot longer than that. And what we had in place for a system with engineering and, the way we were building cars did not match what we need to have in place for Toyota, and that's not something we can change instantly. That's a slow process to kind of redo the way we're structured and the way we operate and get that in line with how we need to optimize the Toyota resources. And it's been it's been a big challenge. That the first part of the season, it's I think everybody's expectations are that we're gonna set the world on fire and we're gonna come out blazing and win some races, and then you get into a couple races, you're like, man, this isn't going right, and then you got to figure out that you have the problem, right? And that took a month or two for us to really know that we had the problem. And then you take a couple different approaches to trying to solve the problem and get through some of these resource issues that we have. And that still didn't work. And here we are, 2/3 of the way through the season, and we're still not where we want to be, and that's where these big changes are coming in. And, we are completely regrouping how we're going to operate and how we're going to approach things now.
And on top of that, I guess, and this is kind of a sidebar, but and Eric ends up with a fracture and misses 2 races. And we saw, Chase Elliott came out of the car and they didn't recover very well. That breaking the continuity of you guys, that had to set you back as well.
Yeah, for sure. Him stepping out of the car was, right before a couple good races for us. And Corey stepped in and did a great job for us. But, the Kansas Dover races, were probably some of our better races towards the first half of the season. And they have been better tracks for us. So if Eric had stayed in there, right, and we have, a little better results and a little better understanding of what we're doing, those little steps could, get us in the right direction quicker. So that definitely set us back. But, I think some of the pain and some of the suffering that we went through is going to put us in a better position going into next year and towards the end of this year. And it's really going to be next year at this point, because we still have a lot of growing to do. We're still adding resources as we're speaking. And it's going to take a big reset for us to get back to where we need to be.
What do you look for out of the last third of the season here to kind of get yourself that momentum that you want to carry into the offseason?
Yeah, I think, for the 43 team specifically, we need to show up with vehicles that are balanced well and have speed to them. It's been really hard for us to show up with cars that Eric is happy with, the balance overall. And we've missed that several weeks. The weeks we do get it right, we tend to have a good weekend. So for the 43 team specifically, I want to show up with cars that, Eric's able to drive fast right away, and we're not sitting there throwing 10% a wedge at it, trying to get the balance right. And now you're sacrificing aero and all these other things that come when you show up that far off. So a small step for us is just unloading correctly where we haven't been.
Well, you talked about good racetracks for Eric, and you talk about unloading well and racing well. We're headed to one of those tracks. We're headed to Darlington. This has got to be a welcome sight for you guys. And just how do you look at the Southern 500, knowing you're going there with Eric Jones driving that race car, a guy that can get the job done at that racetrack with regularity?
Yeah, I mean, it's always exciting to go to Darlington with Eric. His talent there is obviously, probably top 5 at least. For sure his best track. He enjoys going there. He likes the Southern 500 because it's hotter. It gives him an advantage over the other guys. So it's a really good feeling to have that talent in your race car. But there comes a lot of pressure at the same time, because we know we have to deliver, and we know if we do deliver a car that is balanced and has speed, that he can go out and win the race. And our pit crew has been really good on pit road. They're capable of making stops for us that, get us a lead in the top 5. They're that quality of a pit crew, and we got that quality of a driver. Now we have to put a car under the driver that can do this, and, a car and a driver that can be high enough in the race, right, to where it matters for the pit crew to show what they can do. And it's fun. It's fun for us, on the engineering side and the crew side. Like, all we have to do is deliver this car, and the guys can take it from there, and it's all in place, right? That's fun, but there's a lot of pressure, and it's been a challenge for us to get that right. So we're excited to go there, and we're hopeful that we've done all the right stuff, and learn from our mistakes that we made in the spring, and we're bringing, something better than we've had before. And that's the hope. That's our goal. And it's going to be fun to watch and see if we can do it or not.
You talk about balance and speed, and really Saturday and Sunday are almost two different pieces. To have one lap of speed at Darlington versus just keeping mechanical grip in the car. How important is having a successful Saturday to your Sunday program?
Yeah, the Saturday portion of it has been a struggle for us because we haven't qualified well in general on the 43 team in a handful of years. So, I think that Saturday portion is, making sure the raw speed is right, and you have to qualify good in order to get a good pit stall. If you're not qualifying in the top 15, your pit stall is going to be a pretty big challenge. And now we're adding a layer to the race that doesn't need to be there just because we, miss a lap and don't do that right. So Saturday is, of high importance for us. It's going to set the whole tone for the weekend. Our expectation is to go there and qualify in the top 15. I don't know that obviously everybody wants a pole and stall one, and that's, that's the best way to go. I don't know that you have to have that, but you definitely have to be in the top 15 if you're going to want to run well.
Yeah, I think that's legitimately where you need to be. Talk a little bit about the Southern 500, 6 p.m. start. It's daylight, it's hot, it's slick, transitions into night as we go. What do you have to build into your race car to be able to adapt to that?
Yeah, it's a fun race starting in the heat of the day and sweating and then watching the sun go down. And, the track's going to take big swings. It's a challenge. It's a challenge in these cars because track position is so important to the balance of your car. So it's harder to go forward and aft with it and not be good during the day, right? Because then you have a double adjustment going into the night because you get track position and the night time. So you're really going to focus on building adjustability into the car, which is difficult in these cars now. But you try to give yourself some room on, either right rear air pressure or right rear rounds where you can adjust to the needs as it sets into night or, as you change your track position.
Yeah, it's why it's the Southern 500. It's why you love to win the Southern 500, which you've done in the past. It's why it's one of the most rewarding trophies to get in the sport. Final thing that I have for you here, Dave, is that recently Eric has been signed to a contract extension. I have believed that Eric Jones is a champion, a rock star in this sport, and I've seen nothing despite the struggles this year that leads me to believe he's not. How important is that for you guys to have that foundation piece in place as you continue this development?
Yeah, that's huge for us. Eric's been a huge part of the success that we've had here. And despite, our season this year, like he is capable of being a and has all the natural ability to perform at the highest level. So to have someone like that is going to continue to be here for years, that's really good for everybody in the organization. And that's one item we don't have to worry about when we're trying to find speed and we're trying to make things better. Eric's going to be here and we know that he can perform with the best of them.
That has got to be very comforting, that's for sure. Well, Dave, we can't wait to see what happens at Darlington, one of our favorite race weekends of the year. Can't wait to see what you guys bring down there with that number 43 car. Appreciate the time, and we'll see you down in South Carolina.
All right. Thanks for having me on, guys.
There we go. Dave Elenz joining us from over at Legacy Motor Club. Stay with us. More Crew Call in just a moment. Welcome back. It is Crew Call here on the Motor Racing Network. Todd Gordon and Steve Post. I just love chatting with Dave. He just is just real level, even keel. These are the facts, and let's work through the facts to get to where we need to be.
Yeah, he's done a good job with the program over there. I've watched him do this. I've got to see a little bit of it last year, but he does. He pays attention to details. Analyzes what's there and works forward from it. It's this transition to being a different manufacturer. The thing I would say is it's like we speak English. We're going to go to France. Let's speak French, right? You've got to learn the language. You've got to learn. And it may be everybody talks about the tools and the tools simulation, the computer software pieces. Right. But where you may look at, in a Ford program, it may be tire margins you look at. In a Toyota program, it may be some other balance metric. You've got to learn what the lingo is and where you're looking for those targets to be.
Right.
And you've got to run through races to understand
That's the problem, yeah.
what is a right target, what's a wrong target. It takes time to work through these things. And add on top of that, that's why I wanted to bring it up in there, but you take Eric Jones out of the seat for 2 races, and not only was it Kansas and Dover, 2 of their better races, but he came back to Darlington, but they had to change the seat insert. They had to change the angle that he sat at to help alleviate the stress that was put on his back, why he ended up fracturing to start with. So he's in a different seating location at probably arguably his best racetrack coming back. So we saw last year, Chase Elliott was out 7 races, and the 9 team really didn't recover until the playoffs.
Right.
It's tough while they're learning this piece. I think they've got a bright future ahead of them.
Yeah.
Dave and Eric together with the contract extension. I look forward to what this 43 team can do.
I love seeing that as well. It's fascinating to me when we talk about this, and I think Dave broke it down really, really well. We'll fix it. Well, yeah, we got to know, what the problem is. Well, that's a month. Okay, we head down this path. We think that's good. Well, there's another month. There's 6 weeks. And, man, I'm not sure where we're at with that. The challenge of this sport is that they keep racing. Every week they keep racing.
If you go back in the years, we go to a 2 or 3 day test.
There's that, too.
To work things out. We've got 20-minute practice where you're stuck on springs. You can adjust heights and weights. Like it's a challenge for these guys, and that's why it
takes time.
It does.
Patient business.
But we have seen glimmers of hope out of Legacy, and I think it'll come as they continue forward.
All right, the Southern 500, Darlington Raceway. It perks all of us up. Todd, this is just a gem. This race is a gem. This track is a gem. Everything about this is just special. Labor Day weekend is just special in NASCAR.
Yeah. Labor Day weekend at Darlington is, we talked a little bit about this off air, but it's the shortest race of the year for the Xfinity Series.
On Saturday,
147 laps, and you blink and it's like, we're the last run. I remember that from being an Xfinity crew chief back in the day. The Coke 600's longer, but the grind of the Southern 500, I'm not sure that it's not worse than what the Coke 600 is. Yeah. So because it's all race against the wall, it's racing the racetrack. It's so much tire lap time give up. It's it's an iconic race, and one that goes from day into nighttime. Hot. It's going to be hot down there.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
No grip on the racetrack to start with. You add sunshine and hot. What an iconic weekend. And just look for comers and goers and guys racing a racetrack and what they can do with it.
Yeah, I was on a radio, one of our MRN affiliates this morning. I said, this place will eat you up, spit you out, tear you down, frustrate you, and you look at the scoring pylon, and we hit the halfway mark.
Yes.
Yeah, then the second half starts.
That's why it has 2 different nicknames, right?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. The Lady in Black and Too Tough to Tame. And yes, it is very difficult to tame. The attempt to tame it will begin at 12:30 on Saturday afternoon. NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. NASCAR Xfinity Series. Todd mentioned it. 200 miles, 147 laps. The race is called the Sports Clip Haircuts. VFW Help a Hero 200. Sunday Motor Racing Network airtime, 5 o'clock. The Cookout Southern 500 for the NASCAR Cup Series. Cannot wait to get to Darlington.
Yeah, what an iconic. This is Labor Day weekend. This is what it's supposed to be. Racing at Darlington, the Southern 500.
Yep. Oh, it's the cutoff for the playoffs.
Oh, yeah,
that too. Everyone's trying to get the final seeding, whether you're the champion, whether you're in, whether you're out. Can some outlier win this race?
Got 3 cars up top that all have a legitimate shot. I think Tyler Reddick's in a good spot with a 17-point lead on Chase Elliott.
He was getting around Darlington pretty good in the spring also.
Yeah, he did. Until he made a move that he probably wishes he didn't.
Yep, but that's the back portion of it. And outliers. I still you called Daytona, but I'm telling you, Josh Berry or Eric Jones.
I had this one circled too.
Yep, Josh
Eric
Berry.
Jones. Kyle Busch.
Well,
the run that Kyle Busch has been on, they have put together. They're doing what they need to. He was that close at Daytona. Yeah. See where it comes out this weekend.
Man, oh man, there is a lot going on.
I mean, Ross Chastain doesn't run too bad there either.
No, there's that guy too.
I really feel like anybody that's not above the cut line right now feels like they have to win. Because that 21-point lead that Chris Buescher has and the 17 car was pretty strong here in the spring. I feel like unless they have a
catastrophic failure,
they're in a decent spot. So everybody else has to think about racing their way in.
Race and win. That is going to be fun. Make sure you tune in all weekend long on the Motor Racing Network. We appreciate Dave Elenz joining us. More important, though, than all of that, thank you for joining us this time here on MRN's Crew Call.